Hello, hello. This is Ricky Rod, and let me welcome you to a very special episode of Welcome to the Bomb House podcast. You can tell our music intro is different because this is music that I've been working on. I actually did this. This is me playing guitar, all that good stuff. And I decided to work on a project that's a little bit different. And in this episode, you will meet a new character in our family, our podcast family, Gage Gwynn. Now, if you've been listening to our sports, our NFL-centered podcast, and you already know who Gage is. If you have not, and you tapped out, understandably, I hope you come back and listen for this episode. You get to meet Gage. He's a good friend of mine. He brings a lot to the table. He'll be with us in the future with our podcast. But anyway, back to the special episode. We're going to talk about the inspiration of why I decided to do what I wanted to do. We're talking about backing tracks. It's something very simple. It's a simple concept, but there was a process I had to go through. I basically, dumped a lot of the social media habits I was doing. I changed up my schedule to purposely create. It was very important for me to do this. It's been very difficult to do this because I just don't have the time. I don't have enough hours in the day. But as it turns out, I was able to do this and work on this. I had very good friends help me. If it wasn't for my friends and just really being encouraged from them to do this, there's no way I could have done this. But it was really fun. It was really fun to do this, and I loved it. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I hope you find this episode is instrumental and inspires you to create whatever you want to do, whether you want to write a blog, work on short stories, fictional books, whatever you do that's creative. I hope you make time to do it, because I found this to be a very great process for me. It's helped me tremendously in an indirect way, direct way maybe. It has brought back the love of guitar. I've always loved my guitar. I have had an obsession with gear for most of my life, but just it really has sparked some new things for me. So I hope you enjoy this episode. We are going to reference some old Christian bands and some artists. If you don't know who they are, I urge you to Google them. If you don't know who Delirious is, for the love of all that is good and holy, Google that band and listen to their music. Whether you're a believer or not, I don't really care. They're an incredible band, and you need to listen to them. Anyway, God bless. I hope you enjoy this episode. Have a good one. Hello, and welcome to a special edition podcast of Welcome to the Bomb House. My normal host, Jimmy, cannot make it tonight. I think he's out of town. And there's a reason why we're doing this podcast, and we're going to talk about that shortly, but I wanted to introduce my guest. Now, if you're a sports fan, you may have been listening to our NFL podcast called Throwing Bombs. This particular episode will not mention sports. If you're here for the sports, stay with us, okay? Because you may learn something about me, and you may learn something about Gage. But if you've been listening to our podcast in the past year, we've posted over 30 episodes. A lot of it has been about music, life in North Carolina, all that good stuff until the football season started. So we're going to be bringing back that original format here in the next couple of weeks. But my guest with me is Mr. Gage Gwynn. Say hey, Gage.
How's it going, everybody?
So Gage, how old were you when I first met you? Were you like six?
Six
or seven.
6.
So I've known Gage a long time. Gage comes from a very musical family. His dad was the drummer for one of my bands quite a few years ago. He was actually one of my favorite drummers. So Gage grew up in a house of music. Would you say that?
Yeah, my dad's a drummer. My uncle is a singer.
Singer-songwriter in Nashville.
Yeah,
singer-songwriter in Nashville. Yeah.
So it's came pretty naturally to me.
And we could safely say that your dad is very passionate about music.
Oh, for sure.
Like super passionate about it. Like
Yeah.
he's insane about it. And he's a great drummer. He's a great musician. Mm-hmm. He's actually, to be honest, he's almost more of a producer type writer than he is a drummer. He's very talented. So, but Gage, you play some instruments too, right?
I mean, I guess.
Yes,
You can
the answer is yes. You play drums.
I play drums.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to learn guitar, but more recently I've been more on the production side of things. And
Yeah, you're wanting, you've been in here, you've interned here before in the studio.
right, yeah.
So, but anyway, I just wanted to give everybody a background on Gage and how this episode is going to go. So the reason we're doing a special episode or a special, podcast is, I got inspired this past couple of months. I have bought an incredible amount of gear this year. Like,
I'm looking around and I'm like agreeing with you.
Yes,
you have.
yes. There's a lot of new gear in the studio now. Before you say, Rick, all you do is buy gear, that is not true. When you own a recording studio and you happen to be a guitar player, you have to split your money, and most of if I have anything extra, it goes back into my studio.
Right.
That's just sort of the rule. I haven't really, you look around, you see I have a lot of guitars, there's a lot of amps here. I wish I could have more amps and more gear, to be honest, as far as guitar stuff. But for the most part, I try not to get too much of that because studio stuff is very expensive. Like a proper vocal chain, proper drum chain, is thousands of dollars. It is what it is, right? Like, that I want to have the best quality I can have for my clients. So, but anyway, let's talk about gear. So you've bought some gear this year.
Yes, I have.
You bought a guitar.
I bought a Fender Tele.
Yeah.
Just, a standard, and then I bought a drum kit, the SJC.
Yeah.
Custom drum kit.
So you got some gear this year, and
thankfully,
I'll pick up some like guitar pedals and stuff, and a couple of little knickknacks and things. But this particular year, I've gotten back into guitars. I have a pretty good, solid selection of guitars. I've got some of my favorites. I've got a White Falcon that I love.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that in your studio for like as long as I can remember.
That guitar will never leave me. One of my favorites is I have a John Mayer Fender Strat, right, with the Big Dipper pickups. There was there was probably a 4-year run where I bought 7 different Strats to figure out what I liked, and I ended up with that John Mayer Strat. Wow. That kind of stuff. Like I will go through what I have to go through to get the good guitar, the guitars that I like. I play the crap out of my guitars. I do not baby them. I use them. I play every weekend at church at Elevation, and let me tell you, I don't baby my instruments, and, over the years I've gotten into some Paul Reed Smiths. Those are some excellent crafted guitars. I've had about every guitar you can think of, I think I've owned, or I've had them in the studio, right? So anyway, I got inspired this month. I wanted to change up my Strats, the Stratocaster guitar, right? Earlier this year, I bought a Paul Reed Smith John Mayer, and I was very disappointed.
I remember that day.
I was very disappointed in that guitar because I was so excited.
Right, you like texted me. You're like, man, this is a major disappointment.
I cannot. Dude, I was pumped. My wife, who knows nothing about gear, knew I was pumped about this guitar. Like, I was like freaking out. I was like, I can't wait for this guitar to come in. I can't wait for this guitar to come in. And it comes in, and I'm not crapping on all Paul Reed Smith Strats. If you own one, I'm not saying it's crap. I'm just not saying that. If you like it, that's great. That's a wonderful thing about being a guitar player. I got one that I just did not connect with. Compared to my Fender John Mayer, the sustain was a lot less. The Paul Reed Smith probably felt like it had 30 to 40% less sustain than my Fender JM. I just didn't connect with the guitar, and I tried. I played it for like 4 weeks straight, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, and I was really disappointed. Really, I got rid of that guitar, and I was super bummed. And then fast forward to Thanksgiving, I started talking with a friend of mine, Zach Looper. He's one of my best friends at Elevation, great guitar player, MD. And he's got a Suhr, okay, S-U-H-R is the name. It's a Telecaster, okay, and that's they're sort of boutique. They are boutique guitars made out of California, right? He's got a Telecaster is what it is. It's a T model, and it's got a roasted maple neck, and I mean, like, man, I started looking for roasted maple neck guitars on Reverb. Reverb is a great site, by the way. So anyway, long story short, I called Midwood Guitars. I have Zach works at Midwood. Got a lot of friends of mine at Sage. Greer works there. And in Charlotte. Yeah, free ad for Midwood. And they were like, I started looking at all these guitars, and I found an Ernie Ball Music Man Cutlass, which is a Strat, okay? And it is, when you think of Ernie Balls, everybody thinks of Van Halen, right? And John Petrucci from Dream Theater. Those guitars are very comfortable, fast-playing guitars, but they have a Strat called the Cutlass. It's a very modern design on a Strat, and I didn't have that in the studio at the time. I wanted a more modern design Strat, noiseless pickups. Sure enough, I found one with a roasted maple neck, and that guitar was awesome. Like, it's just an incredible guitar. Love it. I mean, I think I played it every day straight for like 2 weeks, right? And then I got really inspired by that guitar, and then over Thanksgiving, I think it was the Friday after Thanksgiving, we had football on for some reason. We may have had college ball or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I was sitting at home, and I was just looking for tracks to play to, like at my house. Like, I was just sitting on the couch. I was just chilling that day, and I pulled up guitar backing tracks on Apple Music. Apple Music's my streaming service. Started looking on YouTube as well. And everything I found sounded like hot garbage. I mean, it was bad, dude. Like,
it's like a karaoke, pretty much.
The production was bad. The thought put into it wasn't very good. It just wasn't. It was very like cheesy keyboard type music where there wasn't a lot of heart put into it.
Right.
I was like, man, that was really stupid. Like why can I find something to jam to? And the idea popped in my head that weekend. I should record some backing tracks that are good, like just fun. I started talking with some friends of mine that are guitar teachers, and I was thinking, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna sit down, write a couple of riffs, see how hard it is. And I had to put myself in a creative mode to do this, So as a producer, mix engineer, I spend 99.8% of my time working on other people's music.
Right. I was going to ask you, like, how long has it been since you've actually made your own music?
I've never released anything.
Because my dad actually told me about something that you wrote a while back that sounded like a Hillsong United type thing.
Yeah.
And it sounded incredible.
I do write sometimes, when I get ideas, but it's very hard. It's very hard to invest time into it because...
well, you're working with so many other people that it's just hard to think of your own stuff.
Exactly. That's exactly why. And so I have... I'll have an idea. My ideas come in the middle of the night. They usually start with a guitar idea. I'll run right over here. I'll sing it into my phone. I'll jump over next door to the studio, and then I'll just start working on it. And as a result, over the years, I've compiled some music. There's some stuff sitting around that for whatever reason I didn't use, or it's just, a good example is I bought a Strymon Big Sky, which is the mother of all reverb pedals right now. It's the hottest thing. You don't see a major worship board without a Big Sky, a Strymon Big Sky. There it is right there. He's looking at it on my pedal board right now.
Oh, yeah.
The big blue one, right? When I bought that pedal, I was incredibly inspired, and I wrote some songs with it, and I was like, man, and it's all just sitting on my hard drives, sitting here in the studio, So long story short, Thanksgiving happened. I got to thinking about this project. I was talking to some friends of mine. I said, hey, I want to record some high-quality backing tracks. So what I would do is when I got done in the studio, I would go have dinner with my family. I would come right back to the studio, and I would say, okay, I got a 2-hour window. Let's do something,
Right.
And I would just picked up that Music Man Cutlass Strat and just started riffing away, just working on some riffs. And I came up with 4 songs, essentially, is what I did. So, and I got to, it's pretty crazy, but my idea was this. My idea was, like, you know, how can I make these fun, right? Like how do you make backing tracks fun, right?
Right.
It's sort of boring. It's silly. It's a little nerdy, right? And I got to thinking, I was like, how stupid would it be if I called them taco tracks and I named each song after a taco, right? And we would have a recipe for each song, like a sauce.
That's genius.
Yeah. So the idea is I'm going to create these backing tracks and then send them out to all my friends and whoever, and they can send me back them playing to these backing tracks.
Right.
Their sauce, right? The double entendres we can come up with. Sauce them up. But you know what I'm saying, though? Like that,
Right.
that was my idea.
That's like the ultimate collaboration.
Yeah, I think it would be great. I want to hear what people do with these songs. Like, the songs only have 2 sections. All the songs have 2 parts. Now, there's some specific styles we can talk about here. But before we get to the taco styles and like my brain's nuts, because this is all I thought about for a week. I was like, okay, how am I going to make this silly enough where it's, because I don't want it to be serious, right?
Right. I mean,
This is not some serious. This is a fun, purely fun thing to do. It's just fun to create. There's no stress on my part. We're just doing this for fun. So I found myself in an interesting time dilemma. I had to give up some things to get this to happen. My goal was to have it done by Christmas. I wanted to release it for Christmas, which ultimately I did. I was able to get everything done and uploaded by Christmas and up on the streaming services. Right. Now, the real work is really promoting it, which is sort of what we're doing with this episode. So in order to get myself in the right frame of mind, I literally unfollowed all the negativity on my social media. Now,
dang.
On Facebook, I had done that a long time ago.
Right, yeah.
On Facebook, it was easier because basically it took 2 elections and I got rid of all the idiots, right? You know,
I was gonna say, like, every time I see like a yearly purge of yours.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Well, went back through my friends list this year.
Yeah. And but it's pretty awesome right now, and it's been awesome this past year and a half to be honest.
Nothing but positivity.
Yeah. And Twitter, and on Twitter, I love Twitter. Twitter is probably my favorite social media vehicle site to get on. And I had been following a lot of gamers on Twitter. Like that, Twitter is about music, gaming, and just fun stuff, tech stuff
It's
for
just
me.
like a host of creativity.
Yes,
honestly.
it really is. I only follow those guys and funny people.
Yeah.
But I found there's a lot of content creators that use drama to fuel their business, to fuel their likes and hits, right? And you do that through social media. People do it all the time. I understand it's a part of the business. It got to the point that it was literally affecting me. Even if it was something silly, like I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a conscious effort to unfollow this particular content creator that's doing this,
Right.
And I purged a lot of my Twitter, a lot of my Instagram. Instagram, I barely go on these days other than to post, and I do check some things, although Instagram's the worst, where people basically create their fake lives on.
Oh, I know.
So anyway, I did this. I gave up gaming. I didn't literally give up gaming, but the time that I would spend gaming, extra time,
you took to this.
I took to this.
Right.
And let me tell you, it helped. It helped me so much, Gage.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, it helped me focus on what I was doing. It sort of brought back like the fun of playing guitar. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool. I've been going when I say that I bought a lot of gear this year, I bought a lot of stupid stuff. Not stupid stuff. To be honest, everything I bought, I'm sort of gonna use major. Like, it's a big, it's stuff that I need. But all of that to say that I got inspired to work on these instrumentals, and I'd send these to my friends. I think I sent them to you. I would send them to you as I was working on them. So I released 4 tracks, and one is called Taco 75. That's the first one I wanted to release.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you want to listen to it? Now, we've
Sure.
never done this on the podcast. We've never listened to music live and critiqued it.
Yeah,
So-
this is fun.
So, Taco 75 is the geeky part. I titled the songs with the BPM, which is the tempo, right? The
Right.
speed, the tempo, and the key. This is the song. It's in the key of E as in Edward, right? So let's check this out. First time on this podcast, live music. You ready?
Sweet.
Well, it's not the first time. This is the second time. We had Jimmy's band. Oh, listen to that.
Okay.
What do you think of that drum beat, boy?
It sounds like a Toto-esque sort of thing.
Well, if you listen to the 1975,
Yeah.
they are straight up 80s.
Yeah, I mean,
This is my favorite part right here.
yeah.
And the bass right there kicks in.
I think that the main outlier for this song is whenever the little guitar picking comes in. It really just reminds you of the 1975.
That's the new Cutlass Strat.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
But listen to that bass line, bro.
It's like, you know what that snare reminds me of? The She Drives Me Crazy snare. You Fine Young Cannibals.
Do you want to hear something crazy
Yes,
about
I
this?
do.
The room mics, the top end
Oh.
crunch of that snare
That was your iPhone,
is from
right?
my iPhone.
That's
I
crazy.
used my iPhone. I set my iPhone like 6 feet maybe back from the drum kit about ear level. Well, for me, which is about 5 foot. Just kidding. It was about maybe plus as high as my music stand could go.
Oh, okay.
And I basically I just literally put my iPhone there. I walked around the room a little bit, and then I had Austin Gray is the drummer, by the way. Austin Gray, I love you. You did such a good job on this for me.
Yeah, this sounds fantastic.
Austin's probably one of the most musical drummers I've ever had in the studio. He's a great drummer, but he thinks more. He just gets the idea of the song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He does some stuff on this just incredible. But so what you're hearing, the crunch of the top end of the drums, is actually from my iPhone. It's crazy. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this.
Okay.
But basically, the idea for this particular track was to make it there's only 2 riffs, 2 sections in the key of E, which is a really easy key for a guitar player, bass player, keyboard player to do whatever, just to jam to, right? But the best thing about this kind of track is it's really the drums. If you don't have a great beat for that,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't work, right? And then I wrote this one like in an hour. I literally
Oh, really?
I got in Reason. I use Reason to do all my programming.
Right.
I got into Reason, wrote that little keyboard part. If you listen to the keyboard part, that's all Reason. And I think I doubled a pad with it. Okay.
Right.
And then what I did, I started with, I think, is it Paul Marbury? I can't remember his name. He has a pack of loops. I dragged one of his loops over, and I just chopped up the loop. You can do some crazy stuff, and I started with that loop, and then I built that keyboard line in Reason. So if you listen early on this guitar part, you'll hear it. This one right here. That one.
Yeah.
Okay, that is that's a Line 6 Helix stomp pedal, which Line 6 just produced. They just released it. So what I did was I used the Strat, and I basically set like the most ambient setting you can set, like the verbs. It has this verb called glitz on it, and I turned the level all the way up. Like
wow.
It's like like if you solo the track, it doesn't sound as cool as it does in that track, but anyway, that was the first. It's Taco 75, right?
Right.
Like a 1975 inspired track. I wanted it to feel like the 80s, right? We did some there's a lot of nerdy mixing things I did to this track, but that was the inspiration behind Taco 75.
That does remind me of their song "Love It If We Made It" quite a bit.
Oh yes, yes,
Especially the breakdown in the middle.
oh yeah.
That break. Ooh.
Well, okay, Josh Parker, who is one of my best friends in the world, longtime best friend, plays bass player for Elevation, came in, and we've known each other for a long time, and I had sent him the track. It was really important that Josh played on this track for me.
Right.
I usually try to bring him in a couple of times a year, and this being my stuff, like, I wanted people that care about it to
Right,
be on it.
yeah.
And he cares, you know. And he came in, man, and he's got like this bass synth pedal. I don't know what it's called. That thing blew my mind. Like, it was crazy what he was doing with that thing. But I wanted the bass line to have some chorus. There's a Boss pedal, that blue pedal on the corner there is called the Boss CE2. You see the black screw? Mm-hmm. That means it's Japanese made, right? Like, there's like a specific kind of signal, like, you know, if they're made with certain parts, you know, like the year, and you know, like exactly what they are. But a Boss CE2 is my favorite chorus pedal of all time. For a while there, they were worth stupid amounts of money because you couldn't find them anymore. So I think, they have one called the Waza, WAZA chorus pedal. It's basically the CE1, CE2, and CE3 all put together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they had to do that because the CE2 market got nuts. Like, those pedals were selling for like $300.
Good Lord.
Yeah, an $80 pedal selling for $300.
That's crazy.
Because they were that popular. But that was the bass pedal we used on this track with this bass synth. It was really cool. So the whole vibe of that track is to make you feel like you're in the 80s, you know? So, you know, what's a good recipe for that song? A Strat, single coil, right? Get you a clean tone, have some fun. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules. I'm just thinking to myself, that's sort of what I did on that track. So I thought that was fun. I thought it was super vibey. I think it's one of my favorite ones.
I do like that a lot.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones.
I'm into that sort of thing right now, just the whole 1975, and then going back to Tears for Fears and Toto. Bands like that just really...
I mean, the 80s, man, I was such a big fan of the glam world growing up because I was a huge Stryper fan, you know, and all that. The glam, but that glam era, when I met my wife... you know, when I met Tyson, she grew up listening to everything, like 60s songwriters, 70s, 80s. She listened to 80s pop. I was listening to rock, right? I was a heavy metal rock kid.
Right.
So through her, I sort of got back into the pop stuff, you know, even in the 90s, you know.
Yeah.
And it's, to this day, sonically is some of my favorite stuff. It's just, to be honest, it can be better, I think.
80s synth pop has so many soaring choruses.
It's the best.
That is just... It's
the best.
It's unparalleled.
I agree. So, okay. So we're going to go the opposite direction on this next track.
Oh.
And this is funny. This is a funny story. So the next track I'm going to talk about is called Taco Top Hat. And who do you think I'm referencing in this taco? Who's the top hat?
Slash. Okay,
yeah, Slash.
Yeah.
Okay, now Slash of Guns N' Roses is super protective of his brand. Like, did you see the videos I posted on Instagram? Did you see the last one I posted?
Oh, yes, I did.
Tori made those. My daughter made those. And I made her put like that baby face on top of Slash's face because I didn't want his people to yell at me, you know, because they're really protective of his brand. So, okay, so the original idea for Taco Top Hat was pretty simple. I had already all the guitars you're going to hear on this track, I had already sorry. We're doing this live.
Whoa.
Yeah. So all these guitar tracks I had already recorded before Austin came in. I just came in with the click track, riffed it out. Now the guitars, I went with humbuckers, right? I've got some Paul Reed Smith guitars here. I've got a Starla that I love. I've got a custom Tele Deluxe with Starla pickups I love. I've got another Paul Reed Smith semi-hollow with humbuckers that I used on it. I layered multiple guitars on this track. But the idea for this track was for it to feel like a Guns N' Roses type beat. Right? You'll hear it with the drums. But this was the idea. It turned out to be more of like Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl meets Guns N' Roses, right? But check this out. I love this part.
Okay. This reminds me of something. I can't place it yet.
I think there's a Foo Fighter song. Here's the second part. This one's an A flat, I think.
This really sounds like something you would... This part Sounds like something you would like write for your old 7 Miles.
Yeah. It's got a lot of similar
reminds me
progressions.
of
It's just the way I chord the songs.
Right. Now this is completely different. Like
Yeah.
you never hear that on a 7 Miles thing.
Well, this is me with no rules. You know what I'm saying? I can just do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So the idea on this track, I'm gonna go ahead and stop this.
Okay.
The idea on this track was, again, you know, if you're one of those guys that wants to tune your guitar a half step down, which a lot of rockers do.
Yes.
It's in the
Everywhere
key of
now.
A flat, which means if you tune it down a half step, you'd just be soloing an A. You know, I thought that would be a fun thing to do. Now, there's a version of this song that will be released later with my lead stuff on it that I've already recorded. It's already done. I'll probably do that in a couple of weeks, you know, but I wanted this song to be fast. It's like 160 BPM.
This song reminds me. You remember Jet?
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me a lot of Jet.
Dude, I love Jet.
I mean,
love that.
It really
band.
reminds me of
That
like
was a
some
great band.
faster Jet.
Yes.
And then
Yeah, that was like, oh man, they were a great band. I
Oh, yeah.
love Jet, and that was the idea. I just wanted to do a very big rock song, big guitars. If you're a dude, if you own a Les Paul, a guitar with a humbucker, just shred. Play as
Just shred
many
and send it in.
play as many notes as you can. Sauce the crap out of that track.
Hey, give Caleb Hensley a call. Give him the.
I'm gonna make him do it.
Oh, you.
Yeah, I'm
yes,
gonna make
okay.
him. But you know, like you know, I've got friends of mine that are incredible shredders. You know, but that's what I was thinking. Like that kind of old school, just fun,
Letting
fast.
loose.
Yeah, just cut loose. That was the idea for this song. And I think Austin almost died tracking this song. It was so fast. He was like, dude, man, this is real fast. I was like, I know it's fast. You got it. But he kills it. Now, we're at the bass line here is pretty fun because I did go for a Duff McKagan Guns N' Roses bass line here. You can hear it here. It's a little dirty, but I put a little chorus on it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right there. You can hear it right there.
Yeah.
But, you know, the bass, I used the Helix for that. I didn't even use an amp for that. I just ran direct.
Dang.
And just turned up the chorus. It's dirty. It's dirty, too. It's super dirty. It's a dirty bass. But I thought, you know, that would be the best way to get the GNR color into the song was putting some chorus on the bass. That's what he's famous for.
Right.
You know, so that's the second track
Okay.
on it. So the third track is the same version, but it's pitched up to the key of A. So if you're too lazy to tune your guitar down, you can just play the song in the key of A, and that's it. You know, so have fun with that one. So I think I called that one Taco Top Hat 2. And then the final one, which I think is the oldest song. This
I don't
is a
think
pretty.
I've heard this.
You haven't heard this one. Well, we'll listen to it because there's going to be a version of this song with my lead parts on it.
Okay.
This song has a very cool story. And on this project, I've called it Taco Vibe. The idea for this song, if you're really into worship or ambient styles of music,
Okay.
this is the track. The drums are...
This is exciting.
Yeah, the drums are like super roomy sounding. This track has Mike Atkins on drums, Jake Bigelow on bass. We went up to Echo Mountain in Asheville. I booked a day up there, and we tracked some songs. And, man, they smoked this one. They did such a good job. That studio is an old church. You know, upstairs there's a Neve board, which is like the mother of all classic boards. Downstairs you got an API, which is a more modern, faster sound. The downstairs is awesome. But we spent a day up there, tracked this song. This song has been on my hard drive since late 2013, 14.
Is this what my dad was talking about?
I have no clue.
Because he
It
said
may be.
it was very worship oriented,
Yes.
kind of, and you went and tracked in an Asheville studio.
Yes, this is probably it. then.
Okay, I'm excited now.
So the idea
Ooh.
for this song, you know, back in the Christian days of before praise and worship ruled the roost, right? There was a band from England called Delirious.
Oh man, is this? Oh, okay.
Okay,
This is great.
and really, they made worship cool.
Yeah.
Like we had like Lincoln Brewster playing 2 million notes on songs, learning how to sing. We had Trading My Sorrows. I'm trading my sorrows. And then you had Martin Smith over there
who's just like
kicking everybody's ass.
cool and you know.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that on
Wow,
this podcast.
on a Christian topic.
But he is. He kicked everybody's butt. Sorry, he did. They did. Like Delirious.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Delirious,
unparalleled in how unique they were.
Oh, they were great. They were the best. Before Hillsong United became Hillsong United and all that stuff. Really, I still do have huge respect for what Delirious did and the music they put out. They were incredible, and their guitar player, I love their guitar player. So, but this particular track is going to feel like a Delirious track, but I think you'll feel it more with just the vibe of the song. But the guitar tones, totally inspired by the Big Sky, the Strymon Big Sky. At the time, I had on my pedal board the Strymon Big Sky and the Strymon Timeline, which is their delay pedal. There's not a real amp on this song. There's a cabinet emulator built into the Big Sky, and that's all I used.
Oh.
Yeah, I used a Tele Deluxe into my pedal board, straight into Pro Tools.
So, the drums and bass.
All done up at Echo Mountain.
And they were recorded when? A long time ago.
Late 2013, 14.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, it was done. Dude, this was done. If I remember correctly, I think I demoed the tracks here. Then we took the scratches up the mountain, and they had tracked them. And then when they came back, I finished them like whenever I had time. Some of these I just recently finished officially.
Right.
But in this case, what we're hearing is the more stripped down backing track version.
Okay.
It's in the key of D, 72 BPMs. And again, a tempo, this is a tempo for you if you just want to use those crazy delay pedals that are out now. If you want to use the Big Sky reverb, whatever reverb floats your boat. If you're using Line 6 stuff, use the Helix Glitz. I would recommend that. But again, there's no rules, but we'll listen to this and then we can talk about it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Takes a little bit.
Immediately that reminds me of Delirious.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Like Jesus' Blood in that song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs they ever
Straight
recorded.
Metamorphosis up in here.
That was one of my favorite. Yeah, here we go. Here comes the progression changes. So this song's got a couple of more different sections.
This is really good.
Thanks, man.
Like, wow, okay. That's so ironic that he told me about this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it just pops up like this.
Yeah. My favorite thing is there's not a real guitar amp on this whole recording. I love it.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. This is my favorite section right here. Coming up after this, it goes to the 5 here. You can hear Mike hitting. I love that tambo.
Yeah.
So there is a version with me playing my guitar parts on it that will be released later.
Okay.
So, and this is when I was going back listening through a lot of my old music, I actually found 3 other songs I had recorded that are sort of similar to this. One sounds like Lord. Sounds crazy.
Oh,
like, I don't know what
that's
like
weird.
Literally the whole song is just a beat and like crazy ambient guitars. I don't know what the crap I was thinking, but in this particular song, Taco Vibe, the idea was, hey, I'll pull out my lead parts that I have already recorded. What's left is enough for whoever wants to jam to
Right,
it.
yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Have you thought about putting a singer on that track?
I no, I haven't. I've never thought about it. When I wrote that song, I got really emotional mixing it last week. I wanted to. I think Christmas was on a Monday.
Yeah.
Right? No, Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah,
Tuesday,
Christmas was on a Tuesday.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Sorry, we're recording this the day after Christmas. It tells you how my mind thinks. But I had an incredibly busy couple of weeks up to Christmas.
Right.
So my goal in my mind was to have it mixed by Thursday. Like everything where I thought, okay, I can't stress out about this. I just wanted to make sure it was done because I wanted to get it up to the streaming services. So I think the last song I mixed was this one. And I just got really emotional. First of all, because Mike and Jake played on it. They're my best friends. Between both of them, they've probably played on 300 songs for me.
Wow.
Various records, and they still do. They still help me. And not only that, but like, it creatively, I don't really get that outlet that much. I get to be creative when I mix. I love that. I'll never stop loving that and working with other people's music. But when it's yours, it's different. It's just different, and if I don't have a singer, then I don't have to worry about anything. I can just do whatever the crap I want.
That is very true.
Right. So, and I'm not here I have zero interest in promoting my brand or making a living off of what I'm releasing. The idea is just to have fun.
Yeah.
And I have realized this past year, between the podcast and just working on my own stuff, that it's something I need to do for me. Like, I need to create something.
Yeah.
Like, this is a part that I have not given. I've just haven't done enough, and I'm going to do more. The podcast has been great. It has really become my favorite thing we've been doing.
Oh, yeah, I love the podcast.
It's so out what we're doing. But it's great. And then this little taco track thing, as crazy as it sounds, has been really fun. And I'm going to be adding to it throughout the year. Like next
That's
year,
exciting, dude.
We've already got an idea for a John Mayer track.
Ooh.
Yeah, like trio, though. It's going to sound like the John Mayer trio.
I didn't know if it was going to be like Daughters John Mayer or trio.
We're going to go John Mayer trio.
Ooh.
Like, I want to go that dirty, raw.
That Pino Palladino.
Yes.
Ooh,
yeah, we're going to go, and we're going to produce it that way. We're going to produce it like how he would have recorded it. And I've had a couple of ideas. I'm going to do some modern country stuff, some Keith Urban kind of tracks.
Okay.
Where it's that kind of four on the floor, kind of
modern.
modern.
I thought you meant like the Sam Hunt kind of country.
No.
Spoken word rap.
No spoken word rap from me for country. I will now. I say that, but I am going to collaborate with a hip hop guy in the future. I've got some crazy ideas. Yeah, so we may be delving into some different styles. The whole idea is that there's no rules.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, I'm just going to keep on uploading to volume 1 of Taco Tracks. They're available on every streaming service right now. I'm going to have it. I think of all the streaming services, my two favorite right now are Bandcamp. No, we're good. Bandcamp and Bandcamp is great, and I love SoundCloud. SoundCloud's dope.
Oh, yeah, SoundCloud's been doing really well for us.
Yeah, and those are the easiest ones, believe it or not, of the services to get them up. But they're on they're going to be on Spotify. They're already up there, okay? But, I do realize, if you're not a musician, you may not want to listen to this. I get it. And it's not really meant for you. You may find some songs that may relax you. You can chill out, have fun, do whatever floats your boat. But the idea is that, hey, it's something that's mine. It's creative. It's fun. It's silly. I can tell friends of mine, hey, when you buy a new guitar and you're at the house and you just want to jam, just pull this up on whatever streaming service and have fun. I did it, Gage. I did it this weekend because I bought the mother of all jazz masters. Okay. I literally bought the sexiest guitar I think I've ever owned. Yeah. Next to the White Falcon.
Looking at it, the White Falcon is very tough to beat.
For you guitar nerds, boy, I'm going to step on some toes here in a second, Gage.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm going to piss some people off on my opinion. But, okay, so, again, free ad for Midwood Guitars in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's all those guys' fault. Listen, I went to that store, and it is so high-end. Like, it's a very premium store.
Can you take me someday?
Yes.
I would love to go.
We need to go because this ain't no Guitar Center, bro. This is like, this place.
Cream of the crop.
It is. It's
high
the
quality.
best. It's the best of the best. And they're, number one, I'm partial to them because I love all those guys there. They are some of my best friends, but they're good at what they do.
Right.
They're great musicians, and they know gear. And I'm in the studio 90% of my week. Easy.
That is very true.
The only time I leave the studio is to go play guitar for church,
Right.
And I'm with these guys, and these guys live, breathe, eat guitars, bass, all this stuff. So they let me know, hey, this is what we have in the store. This is what's really hot. So you would have to, in the guitar world, music world, especially Christian music world, you would literally, if I told you, hey, have you ever heard of Elliott Guitars? People that are serious would say, yes, I've heard of Elliott Guitars. Andy Elliott is a luthier out of Statesville, North Carolina, that area. I go way back with Andy. He builds some of the most amazing instruments ever. Boutique guitars. I've had him in the studio many times. I absolutely love his guitars. My favorite design of his guitar has been his Jazzmaster. He's got a Jazzmaster that I just think is the bomb. It's really, he calls it the Tone Master, okay? But it's a great guitar. It's sort of, I mean, I know he's got other guitars that are fantastic, but of the ones that I've played that I love, the Tone Masters are my favorite, okay? So, and people are like, Ricky, how come you don't own a Tone Master yet? Well, I have a family. I have 2 kids going to college. I have a recording studio. And his guitars they're expensive. They're amazing. They are like Ferrari of guitars. They are. They're incredible.
That's like when people asked my dad a while back, because he plays DW like religiously.
Yeah.
DW.
Yeah. His original DW kit,
the black one,
is
we still
to
have
this day
it.
is the best maple drum kit I've ever heard.
Right. So he he played that religiously still to this day, and people go up and go, why don't you buy a Cravioto?
Yeah.
Like, do I have 15 grand to just like chill out on a drum set that sounds the same as my black kit?
It's interesting because there are, in the guitar pedal market, for instance, there are boutique guitar pedals. JHS became hugely popular, started as a smaller brand. There's a lot of companies that sort of got started in that world and have done great.
Right.
But they're a little cheaper, right? Like a guitar pedal is never going to be, some of them are as much as some guitars, but for the most part, you pay for what you get for it. If you buy a Strymon, you're buying something that has been well crafted. The parts, the converters, everything in it is top notch, but when it comes to boutique guitars, it's hit or miss. I'll be honest with you. It just is. Boutique guitars are hit or miss. It's just something you either really love because it's so it's so expensive. It's a huge financial burden. Sometimes, people that have money, great. They can go out and buy what you want.
Go for it, man.
Yeah. And I've always been the guy, like if you want a Strat, play a Fender Strat. If you want a Telly, play a Fender Telly. If you want a Les Paul sound, play a Fender. Or play a Fender, play a Gibson Les Paul. Even though over the years I would say that they're Paul Reed Smith, there's Paul Reed Smith guitars that have just blown my mind. And if you want a Gretsch sound, play a Gretsch.
Right.
That kind of stuff. But the boutique guitars, you got Duesenbergs, you got all these out there now. They're making incredible high quality instruments. So, am I going to piss people off about Elliott's? No, I'm not going to try to piss you off. But just to say, Elliott's are amazing. However, this guitar I bought is called Novo. N-O-V as in Victor, O. They're made out of Nashville, made by Dennis Fano. Fano made some other guitars previously. Novo is his new company. They're made in Nashville, Tennessee now. Okay? So the design of my particular guitar is the Saris J, which is his Jazzmaster, right? So again, please don't take what I say as the final word, okay? I'm literally a guitar player that's just a fan. I hope I get this all right. Maybe Dennis Fano can come on the podcast one day and we can talk about his guitars because I'm smitten.
Wouldn't that be crazy?
I think it could happen. I know Andy's going to come on the podcast eventually. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But I know I am smitten with this Novo right now, and because it's such a cool instrument, and the reason I think it's cool, the Jazzmaster design, it's like a modern design guitar with vintage aesthetics.
Yeah, 'cause
right.
it looks like you've owned it for 10 years, like I said earlier, but
actually
also
like 30.
yeah, yeah, but
Yeah.
but like I said earlier, it's brand new, but it also feels like you've played it for 30 years.
It is an incredible instrument. The neck is it's a roasted maple, right? Tempered wood, and the body is tempered pine. So pine is a very light wood. When you temper it, it sucks the moisture out, hardens the wood. In this case, it hardens the wood. And pine is what used to be in the old version of the Telecast, the Tellies. The first version of the Tellies used to be pine.
Oh.
And then the people that were distributing the guitars for Leo Fender told them that the wood was too soft. So they changed the wood. They changed it from pine, because pine is traditionally a very soft wood. But what they're doing is they're putting tempered pine bodies on these guitars. So the guitar is very light, is very balanced, feels very fun to, like, when you sit down and play with it, you stand up, feels super great. My particular guitar has Fralin P90s, which are very, high-end custom pickups. But the vibe of the guitar, the color, mine's like a burnt red orange color. It's incredible. Like the distress on it, it's the best distress job I've ever seen.
Oh, for sure.
So anyway, a friend of mine turned me on to these that works at Midwood Guitars. So I go on Reverb, I go on Midwood's site, and then I go onto the website. And their website's okay, but they do a lot of stuff on Instagram. So I get on Novo Guitars on Instagram. Oh my God, Gage. I wanted to buy every guitar on that stupid Instagram page. Everyone. In fact, I'm going to order their Telly this year, their Telly version sometime this year.
Oh, I can't wait
They
to
have
see
a Telly,
that.
they have a Strat, they have a Jazzmaster. The Jazzmaster version, you can get it with P90s or different humbuckers. They've got, dude, it is incredible what they got. But it's such a unique design. So, granted, now, are they expensive? In the boutique world, they're not the most expensive, to be honest.
Okay.
They're not, they're more expensive than some Fender custom shops, but they're cheaper than a lot of Fender custom shops. The price is good, and the tone is incredible. Like, I have done nothing but play that guitar since I've gotten it. So, all to say, I got really inspired by that guitar, and I've been working on some more songs.
Ooh.
Some more stuff. So gear does inspire.
Oh, for sure.
So all that to say is thank you for listening to this episode. It does mean a lot to us that you guys listen to this. This is just a passion project for me. It's not meant to be anything more than something fun for musicians to practice to be inspired by. I'm going to have the stems available. And what I mean by stems, I'm going to upload the drum separate, the bass separate,
sweet.
the keyboard separate. Everything's going to be separate in stereo stems. I'm going to have them up on Bandcamp. That way people can download them for free if they want. And you can take them, load them into your favorite DAW, your favorite audio workstation, and have fun. Do with it what you want. Like, I want it out there for people to do whatever they want. I want them to be creative. I want it to be fun. Like, that's the whole idea of Taco Tracks. It's an insanely crazy idea. Something I'm going to start doing in a few weeks is have my friends send me videos of them jamming to these, and I'm going to name the sauce on Instagram.
That's great, dude.
I haven't decided if I'm going to do Mountain Burrito themed sauce yet.
Oh, you should, for sure.
I think I will. I'd be an idiot not to tie it in with my favorite burrito place in the world with Brian at some point. But anyway, thanks for listening to my songs, guys, for letting me engage, sort of walk you through what we're doing here. But so if you're a musician, right, and you're looking at, I'm not saying buy all your gear from Midwood Guitars or whatever, Sweetwater, whoever works for you. I don't care. I'm just saying, gear does inspire.
Yeah, and,
right?
and this whole podcast, little episode, is just a message to whoever's out there, even if you're not a musician. Always stay inspired.
Yeah.
I'll always stay looking towards the creative path that you want to be on.
It is, sometimes we let life sort of
bog you down.
Yeah, it does,
Your creativity kind of stays inside you.
In my case, it was just, it's something that I recognize. I had it on my hard drive. It just was there, and I just didn't know what to do with it. Like literally, I have no clue. And now, when I got the idea of the backing tracks, thank God, I had that idea. I'm like, oh, I got something I can release and do this. And on top of that, there's going to be versions with me playing on top, and you get to hear my interpretation of these songs. They're a little crazy. Like the melodies I came up with are pretty fun. They're very, I'm very out of the box on some of this stuff. And some of it's pretty traditional.
Right.
But the idea is to have fun. I had fun. I'll be releasing those in the future just for people to listen to and just to have it out there. So I'll be building the Taco Tracks library over the next year. I can't commit to how many songs I'm going to do, but we're just going to have fun. Again, I said we're going to probably do a John Mayer Trio inspired track.
That's gonna be
probably
so good.
some Stevie Ray Vaughan inspired tracks.
Okay.
Yeah, and and I was thinking about some slide tracks, people to practice slide guitar too.
Right.
Excuse me. But anyway, we're going to have, I'll be updating everybody on social media about what I'm doing. So, if, you've already seen it. If you follow me on Instagram or you follow the podcast, you've already seen some of the funny videos we've been posting and it's meant to be fun. That's it. We just want to have a lot of fun and goof off and enjoy this gear. I've been so inspired by that Strat I bought, and I've been so inspired by that Novo. These are tones that I did not have. I didn't have that modern Strat tone.
Right, yeah.
And that Novo, I don't have a guitar in the studio that has P90s, no Fralins. And it really has inspired some neat guitar tones. So, but anyway, thank you for listening. Check us out at bombhousepodcast.com. Check out Jimmy Atkins at Ruddy Man Beard. He is in the middle of rebuilding the site for us right now, the Bombhouse Podcast site.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. So the way the podcast, it's going to stay the same. Bombhouse Podcast page. You'll see links to Taco Tracks, to a page just for Taco Tracks, and you'll see a link to Bombhouse Recording, the studio page, and some other things. So we'll be releasing different information about that over the year. As far as Bombhouse Podcast, Jimmy's wife just had a baby. We'll be doing some episodes in the future. We have a special episode I think we're going to try to do in January.
Ooh.
But the creative stuff, this kind of stuff, me and Gage will probably be doing more of. I've got some friends of mine out there that are in the industry that are going to come in and talk with us.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun, dude. It's crazy. It's when I think about the people that can come on here and we can just shoot the breeze about guitars and gear and just nerd out a little bit. And hopefully if you're not a music fan and you're married or your boyfriend or girlfriend's a gearhead, like you may understand why they're a gearhead.
Hints, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh honey, I was listening to Ricky talk about a guitar and it was really weird. I get it now. I straight up nerd out about stuff. I love this kind of stuff. Believe it or not, compared to my friends, I'm actually like
pretty tame.
I'm pretty tame.
Whoa.
I think so. I don't know. Maybe we can compare. We can do that. The next guest that comes over, we can. I don't know though, man. I don't know. It's pretty bad here. But anyway, thank you again for listening. Check out the website page for Taco Tracks information, all that good stuff. Check out all of our podcast stuff. It's all up on the page. It's all up on our Facebook page. It's up on our Twitter, all that good stuff. We have something for everybody, literally.
We got football. We got life stuff. We got
tacos,
music.
Burritos. What? We got preachers. We got everybody. Like, I don't know any other podcast that has this diverse of a family of information. So, but if you hang out with us, this is our life. This is what we do.
This is us eating lunch and I'm burrito talking about all this.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So, so the bottom line is, if you're thinking about buying gear, just buy it. And if you don't like it, sell it.
There you go.
And then find you something you do like.
Easy as that.
I mean,
work for you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I did ask permission from the wife.
That is fair.
I do that. So anyway, seriously though, peace out. You guys have a good one. God bless.